I'm sorry if my vibes are like weird during this. Had a crazy day at work. A car crashed through the front of our office. Like a car straight up came through the window at the front of my workplace. This crazy, like adrenaline rushing, trying to like figure out what was going on, make sure everyone was okay. Thankfully everybody was okay. But then like just a total adrenaline dump after that, and just a weird vibe. But I'll tell you it's not a weird vibe. The 11th week of the NFL season. Grab my predictions here. So, these were my predictions from last week. First and foremost, we're going to talk about a game that I was wrong about, but I'm so happy to be wrong about it. Seahawks vs. 49ers. Hold on, can we... No, we have to like make this... There we go. Seahawks vs. 49ers. So I thought the 49ers are going to win this one because they'd beaten us, I think, 6 games in a row. The last 6 games the Niners had won. I think since Russell Wilson was traded, the 49ers had won every single matchup. And it was looking bad early that first quarter. We were on a 3rd down. Gino took a sack, and we were forced to kick a field goal. And then Brock Purdy came down, and he scored a rushing touchdown, which in a way is kind of like poetic. It rhymes a little bit, because we win the game on a Geno Smith touchdown, and Christian McCaffrey was carving us up, as he always does. He always carves us up. We were really only able to get field goals. JSN gets a touchdown, and then we're still down. There's like a minute something left. And Geno Smith, absolute hero, which is so funny because I've been so critical of Geno Smith basically since we got him. Scrambles, holds the ball, just runs through the San Francisco 49ers defense into the end zone. Rushing touchdown for Geno Smith, and the Seattle Seahawks win this game 20-17. The NFC West is so weird. It is such a weird division at the moment. Obviously there's not going to be any wild cards coming out of the NFC West. Also, George Kittle was out. Bosa, I always forget what Bosa they have, if it's Joey or Nick. He re-aggravated a hip injury and he left the game as well. But the Seattle Seahawks get a win. They moved to 3rd in the NFC West. The 49ers are 4th. Geno Smith 25 for 32, 221 yards. 0 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 interception. Brock Purdy 21 for 28, 159 yards, 1 passing, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 interception. Now I want to talk about a game that broke my heart a little bit. I watched the first half of this game. I turned it off at halftime to watch something else because it was very lopsided, but I want to talk about the Bengals versus the Chargers. I predicted the Bengals to win this one. They don't. The Chargers get the W. So already we're not off to a great start. But, even though I'm a Justin Herbert fan, and the Chargers are 7-3 at the moment, I feel so bad for this Bengals team. I feel like if they had just a league average defense, they'd be like 9-2. It is so shocking how well their offense can play. They legitimately have one of the best offenses in the entire NFL, and they have nothing to show for it at the moment. It's actually crazy. I don't know. I'm sure there is a comparison at the moment that it's just escaping me. But it's just frustrating. I'm not even a Bengals fan, and I find it extraordinarily frustrating. There's this tweet. Joe Burrow has 3,028 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions this season. The Bengals are 4-7. Make it make sense. And I feel like the problem is multifaceted. They have a very good offense in spite of them having a terrible offensive line. The defense is terrible, and the coaching is bad. And I feel like a big part of that issue comes down to ownership, not wanting to spend money. And I feel bad. Joe Burrow is legitimately having a historic season. Jamar Chase is having a historic season. And it's just that there's going to be nothing to show for it. If this Bengals team was like one game over 500, Joe Burrow would be in the MVP conversation. I'm not saying he'd win, but he'd be in the conversation. It's just how frustrating this is. But credit to the Chargers and Will Disley. I've always been a Will Disley fan. He had a touchdown this game. He had the opening touchdown for the Chargers. 34-27 is your final score. The Bengals come out in the second half, make it a little bit interesting. Like I said, I turned it off at halftime when it was 24-6. I was like, okay, stick a fork in this one. I thought it was over. The Bengals do make a bit of a comeback, but fall short. Joe Burrow has 28 completions on 50 attempts, 356 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Herbert, 17 completions on 36 attempts, 297 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Now for a game that I wasn't 100% confident in this prediction. I felt like one of my reaches. But I actually ended up getting this one right, and that is predicting the Steelers to beat the Ravens. It has to be said that Lamar Jackson had one of the worst games of his entire career. And I say this as a Lamar Jackson fan. 41% pass accuracy in this game. And apparently I didn't know this. Lamar Jackson has only beaten the Steelers one time in his entire career, which is crazy. I don't know if it's Mike Tomlin just specifically has like the answer to Lamar, whatever it is. But if you look at everything in this game, there was 2 missed field goals, and this is from a guy, Justin Tucker, that a lot of people consider one of the best, if not the best kicker of all time. Obviously, there's a conversation between a couple guys there, but he's usually automatic. He missed 2 field goals in this game. The offense had 3 turnovers. But to their credit, I was talking about the Ravens' defense, and at least their secondary looked a lot better in this game. And despite all of those faults, despite the 2 missed field goals, they only lose by 2. Despite Lamar Jackson having perhaps the worst game of his career, they only lose by 2. So just one of those 2 missed field goals goes in and the Ravens win this thing. But the Steelers, they're just finding ways to win right now, and they won without a single touchdown in this game. It was just all field goals, and some of them were long. 52-yard, 57-yard, 50-yard, all from Boswell. So it was not like the Steelers came out and put on a clinic. It's just that they did enough to win, and they get the W. And this is a game that matters. The Steelers now lead the AFC North. The Ravens are second in the AFC North, and that can have really big. This single game, Ravens fans might look back on this a couple weeks down the line, depending on the playoff positioning, and look at this loss as more than just a loss. 18-16 is your final score. Lamar Jackson, 16 for 33. 207 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Russell Wilson, 23 for 36. 205 yards, 0 touchdowns. 1 pick. Let's talk about the Chiefs versus the Bills, shall we? I did have a feeling the Bills would win this game. I picked the Chiefs because of my long-standing rule of picking undefeated teams to remain undefeated. But coming into this matchup, if you watch my prediction video, I was somewhat confident the Bills would win this. An interesting thing happened in this game. Something I feel like didn't get that much press. Actually, let me double check this real fast before I speak. Yes. So, Josh Allen, after this game, now has more franchise rushing touchdowns for the Buffalo Bills than O.J. Simpson. I know it's kind of taboo at this point to acknowledge O.J.'s football career, even though he was a hell of a football player. He was just a killer out on the field, just murdered defenses. But he was obviously a very good football player, and Josh Allen has passed him for rushing touchdowns for the Buffalo Bills as they hand the Kansas City Chiefs their first loss of the season, 30-21 in favor of the Buffalo Bills. And Patrick Mahomes really struggled in this game. He threw that interception there in the last 2 minutes or so, which completely sealed the game for the Buffalo Bills. And the Chiefs finally get their first loss. It was long overdue. The team has not looked like world beaters really since like week 3 or 4. Kind of felt like that they were winning in spite of some poor performances on the field overall. And there was more than one game that's happened over the past handful of weeks that felt like they should have lost, but they didn't. And credit to the Bills for capitalizing. They are just the better team right now. At the moment, Josh Allen is the odds-on favorite at the Las Vegas sportsbooks to be the NFL MVP. And at this point in the season, this late in the game, unless something catastrophically goes wrong, I think it's too late to really change the mind of the voters, and I have to imagine Josh Allen will be our MVP for the 2024-2025 season. This game ends 30-21 in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes has 23 completions on 33 attempts, 196 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, and that second one was really, really bad. Josh Allen, 27 completions on 40 attempts, 262 yards, 1 passing, 1 rushing touchdown, and 1 interception. The Falcons versus the Broncos. I picked the Broncos to win this. I thought this was going to be a super close game, but I just felt like Broncos kind of had that swag at the moment. I was not expecting this. The Broncos win this one in an absolute blowout, 38-6. And what's really funny is the Atlanta Falcons are 6-5-0 and they are leading their division, which just feels wrong. But oh my god, this game, Bo Nix, Bo Nix, it's so funny because he started this season. I remember talking the first 2-3 weeks of the season, I kept talking about how Bo Nix, it seemed very obvious that the coach didn't trust him to throw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. He kept throwing so many screen passes. He kept just making really safe plays. And it looked like they just weren't allowing him to make to take any chances with the ball whatsoever. He was only allowed to make the safe play. And I called that out, I think in my week 2 or week 3 video. And I said, he's going to develop bad habits if you keep doing this. And I'm going to take the credit for the Broncos turning this thing around. But he's they're letting him air that thing out. Deep passes, long passes. He had 307 yards this game. 4 passing touchdowns, no picks, 28 completions on 33 attempts. Kirk Cousins, 18 for 27, 173 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. The Broncos look dangerous. They're 6-5-0. They're 3rd in their division. I think if they can get a wild card spot, if they can stay hot, I think this Broncos team might. Now, it is a tough division for them, obviously. How many games back? So the Chiefs are obviously leading that. They're 9-1. I don't think there's any chance that the Chiefs lose that division. They're going to keep that top spot. The Chargers are 7-3. They've won 4 in a row. And the Broncos are 6-5. I don't know. I don't think the Chargers lose that second spot, but this is very promising for next season, and maybe next season the Broncos can be a playoff team. I don't see it at this point. I don't think the Chargers will fall off, but you never know. But this is an exciting team. This Broncos team, Bo Nix, he has that confidence. And if you're a Chicago fan right now, it makes what's happening even harder, especially after the week you had this week. So, Green Bay versus Chicago. Speaking of Chicago, I said last week the Patriots, that was their best chance to get a win for the rest of this season. Then they almost beat this Packers team. A blocked field goal was the only reason the Packers won this game, which is crazy because the Bears have looked dead in the water for like 3 weeks in a row now. So I wasn't expecting that to happen this game. I thought this was going to be a cakewalk for Green Bay. And both sides of the ball, I felt like in Chicago looked good. Jordan Love struggled, sort of. It's weird because he only had 13 completions but 261 passing yards, so like all of his passes were bombs. But he just didn't throw the ball that much. But the Packers hold on, they block the field goal, they get the win. 20-19, Jordan Love 13 completions on 17 attempts, 261 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Caleb Williams 23 for 31, 231 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. Caleb Williams threw the ball 10 more times than Jordan Love, and he has 30 fewer passing yards. That's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Raiders Dolphins, I picked the Dolphins and they win 34-19. Gardner Minshew 30 completions on 43 attempts, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception to Tagovailoa, 28 completions on 36 attempts, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Rams, Patriots. I took the Rams. The Rams won. They joined the pack of 5-5-0 teams in the NFC West. I think there's 3 teams out in the NFC West with a record of 5-5-0. Reminds me of the old Pac-12 college football days. The Rams win it 28-22. Matthew Stafford 18 completions on 27 attempts, 295 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. Drake May 30 completions on 40 attempts, 282 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Let's talk about the Lions, shall we? The Detroit Lions 9-1-0, now tied for the best record in the NFL. They have blown teams out back-to-back weeks, 52-6 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, an absolute flogging, and they basically dominated them in every aspect of this game. And I just saw today that for the first time in Detroit Lions franchise history, they are now the Vegas favorites to win the Super Bowl. For the first time in franchise history, they are the favorites to win the Super Bowl. So at the moment, all the pressure is on Detroit. We'll see how Jared Goff handles that, but today he goofed all over Ford Field. He just goofed all over the place. They're still cleaning it up. 24 completions on 39 attempts at 412 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Mac Jones of the Jaguars, 17 completions on 29 attempts, 138 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. Cowboys fans, they got what they wanted with a Cooper Rush game. I'm not gonna lie to you, he looked alright. The Cowboys still take the loss here, 34-10 in favor of the Texans. But Cooper Rush looked alright. I don't think this is the savior that some Cowboys fans think he is. I don't think he's gonna be the long-term solution in lieu of Dak Prescott. But he was alright. 32 for 55, 354 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also fumbled the ball, and that was returned for the touchdown. Texans winning this one. C.J. Stroud, 23 for 34, 257 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception in the Battle of Texas. Now let's go over a prediction I made that at the time felt like an upset. I felt like it wasn't going to happen. I wasn't confident in it, but I thought that the Colts would beat the Jets. The Indianapolis Colts with Anthony Richardson at QB. I said they would win, and they did. And as a guy who is a believer in Anthony Richardson, I love this game. I absolutely love this game. Anthony Richardson had 20 completions on 30 attempts, 272 yards. He had 1 passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns, including the game-winning rushing touchdown. Aaron Rodgers has 22 completions on 29 attempts, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The Colts win it 28-27. The Jets were a 4.5-point favorite. And my boy AR, he pulls it off. And I'm so happy. I have no reason to be a big Anthony Richardson fan. I just am. I like the way he plays the game. And, he's been getting a lot of flack. So it's pretty cool to see him get the W here. Also, I forgot to mark this. But I did predict the Packers to win, so that's another green for me. Alright. Let's finish this off. Vikings, Titans. I took Minnesota here. They do get the W. Titans are such a weird team at the moment. I don't feel like they have much of an identity. And the Vikings are 8-2, which is just nuts. 23-13 Vikings. Sam Darnold, 20 for 32, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Will Levis, 17 completions on 31 attempts, 295 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Alright. Okay. And we have the Browns versus the Saints. I took the Browns here. James had a good game, even though last week he didn't. This is an L for me. But Saints win it with Derek Carr under center, 35-14. Jameis Winston, 30 completions on 46 attempts, 395 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Derek Carr, 21 completions, 27 attempts, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. But shout out to Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill was an absolute monster in this game. He had 1, 2, 3 rushing touchdowns, 1 for 75 yards, 1 for 33 yards. Bro basically single-handedly killed the Browns. Just Taysom Hill put up 21 points, which is 7 more than the Browns' entire team did. It's just crazy. And finally, Commanders, Eagles. I picked the Eagles to win it. The Eagles did win it 26-18. Jane Daniels, 22 for 32, 191 yards, a touchdown, a pick. Jalen Hurts, 18 for 28, 221 yards. He had 1 rushing touchdown, no passing touchdowns, no interceptions. And that is week 11. There were 14 games. I got 10 correct. So not as crazy as some of the last couple weeks have been, but I'm still happy with that. If I come down here, let's do a 10 divided by 14. That's 71%, so I should theoretically improve. And on the season, I get 107 for 166. So we do 107 divided by 166. We're at percentage hasn't budged, which is alright by me as long as it isn't going down. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. Until next time, guys. Bye. Bye.